Hello everyone, today I've made this tutorial on the chapter learning. So what exactly is learning? You learn few dance moves or you learn some new words from a foreign language. Here you're learning how to dance or you're learning how to speak a foreign language. So it's any relatively permanent change in you and your behavior. So the definition goes like learning is any relatively permanent change in behavior brought about by experience or practice. For example, for experience, I know you ain't stupid enough to do this, but then you go hit a rock with your leg. It hurts, it's painful. So, until and unless you enjoy the pain, you won't go hit that rock again because you learned from your experience that hitting the rock with your leg would hurt you. And for example, for practice, I remember when we poor kids, we were tortured with loads of homeworks with hundreds of pages to write. We were asked to do this to improve our handwriting, and that thing actually worked. With the regular practice, we actually improved our handwriting. We learned how to write properly. So, the relatively permanent part of this definition, it actually refers to the fact that when people learn anything, there's some part of this brain which is physically changed to record what they have learned. This is actually a process of memory though, because for without the ability to remember what happens to understand anything, people cannot learn anything. Although there is no conclusive proof as yet, but research suggests strongly that once people learn something, it's always present somewhere in their memory. The several aspects of this definition are number one, the term learning does not apply to temporary changes in behavior, such as those especially stemming from fatigue, drugs, or illness. Number two, it does not refer to the changes resulting from your maturation. It's the fact that you can change in many ways as you grow and develop. The jumping, uncontrollable hormones. Number three, learning can result from serious as well as from direct experiences. In other words, you can be affected by observing events and behavior in your environment as well as by participating in them. For example, you observe an event in which a man is trying to cross the road in heavy traffic and got hit by the truck. So you learn from this event, you have observed this event and you learn from it that you're not supposed to go cross the road in middle of heavy traffic as you might get hit by the truck or any other vehicle. Number 4, the changes produced by learning are not always positive in nature. People are as likely to acquire bad habits as good ones. It's not important that you learn only good things like studies maybe, or like to speak good, to be mannerful, to respect others. You can even learn the bad things such as smoking, drinking, being disrespectful, etc. Now, moving on to the next part of this chapter, types of learning, there are three major types: associative, cognitive, and trial and error learning. As the name suggests, associative learning, it's about the association between two things. Associative learning is the process by which an association between two stimuli or a behavior and a stimulus is learned. There are two forms of associative learning, which are classical and operant conditioning. So, in classical conditioning, a previously neutral stimulus is repeatedly presented together with a reflex, eliciting stimuli until eventually the neutral stimulus will elicit a response on its own. And in operant conditioning, a certain behavior is either reinforced or punished, which results in an altered probability that the behavior will happen again. I'm not focusing on the explanation of these definitions right now, as we're going to deal with these two definitions in more details in the later part of this chapter. Now, the second type of learning, it's cognitive, and it got three subparts, three kits, which are observational learning, latent learning, and insight learning. Well, observational learning, it's the learning process most characteristic of humans is imitation. One's personal repetition of an observed behavior, such as a dance. Humans can copy three types of information simultaneously: the demonstrator's goals, actions, and environmental outcomes. Through copying these types of informations, the most infants they tune into their surrounding culture. Well, for an example, for the observational learning, you have a sister. If you don't have one, just imagine one. You see your sister being punished by your mom for not asking permission to eat a cookie, and she ate the cookie without her permission. So you learn from this event that you observe this event and you learn that you're not supposed to eat the cookie without your mom's permission. So this is observational learning. You observe and learn. Now, the second type of cognitive learning is latent learning. The type of learning that occurs but you don't really see it, it's not exhibited until there is some reinforcement or incentive to demonstrate it. Well, for example, you train a parrot to talk, but that parrot won't talk for you until and unless you reward it. You give a treat as a reward to it. Now, the third type of learning is insight learning. So, insight learning is a type of learning or problem solving that happens all of a sudden through understanding the relationships, various parts of a problem, rather than through trial and error. For example, someone pinches you, your reflexes work, and you take your hand back. So, this is the example of insight learning. Now, the third type of learning is trial and error learning. Trial and error learning is a simple form of learning. When the individual faces a new situation, he makes a number of random moments. Out of those moments, unsuccessful ones are eliminated and the successful ones are retained. For example, you're on a date and you make some hell lot of random moments, and some of them actually impresses your date and some of them actually displeases them. So you keep those moments which actually impress them. You eliminate all those moments which weren't successful impressing them, and you keep all the rest of them which actually impress them. So well, that's it for today's tutorial. Thank you.